Hey guys, this is my first ever YouTube video, so forgive me if the video isn't that great. I've never done one of these before. Yeah, but I've subscribed to a lot of different people for ages, listened to them speak about themselves, their lives, their issues, things that are important to them, things that they do, and thought about doing it myself for a while and just figured, why not? I'll just give it a go, share my story, and hopefully this can be an almost kind of pseudo therapy for me, I suppose helping me move on. So, a little about me. My name's Anthony. I've grown up in Sydney, Australia my entire life. I'm a second generation Italian Australian, so in other words, my mum was born here to Italian parents, and my dad immigrated at the age of 20. I have a younger brother, and we pretty much had a normal, I suppose, Italian Australian upbringing. So, in other words, meaning very conservative, very traditional and religious, very high regard for morals and doing well by others, or doing by them as you would like done upon yourself. But also at the same time, very strict, and there is a lot of concern and regard given to what other people in general and what others in the Italian community will think of your actions. And you can't do that certain thing, what will others think? Or they'll think of you like they did of this person when they did this action. So there is a lot of restriction there as well, but that just comes with the territory, I suppose. So a bit about me in general. Growing up, we had a lot of heartache and death in the family, so all of my grandparents and my only aunt had died by 2002. So there was a lot of grief, a lot of weekends spent in hospitals growing up. There was never really any time for family holidays, and of course with the Italian community it is somewhat expected that children will look after their elders as they get older and get sick and need help and medical attention. So a lot of time given to that, of course, as well. And I think at the time, I was very overweight all throughout the later half of primary school and all through high school. Got teased quite a little bit for it, and I think I never really dealt with those emotions and with what was going on at home. And I think in a lot of ways I probably channeled those emotions into my schoolwork at the time. Did very well. I finished high school basically with quite a decent UAI, and pretty much at that time was when it really hit me. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and it was never really instilled in me that I could be anything I wanted to be. It was always, you care for the family and yourself comes second in a way. And I sort of fell into a business degree, which I was quite comfortable and happy doing. Of course, however, I became a lot of family pressure where they didn't really understand what I was doing, what it would lead me to, and sort of, I think, out of a wanting a need to make others happy, I transferred to a law degree, which is when it really hit me. That really wasn't where I wanted my future to go, and I wasn't really happy doing that. And I became quite depressed at that point. I started channeling my energy then into losing weight, and it became almost like a game. The more you lost, the more you had to, the more you could shock people with it. And I think in some ways, looking back, it was quite an act of rebellion. Quite an act of me going, no, you aren't going to control my life and tell me what to do in every aspect of it. I will do something that I can claim control over. And I think there was a lot of that control aspect, to the point where I became quite thin, classed as underweight at that stage, about 60 kilos, was losing my hair. So it wasn't a good place to be. And throughout all of that, of course, my studies and my motivation to study suffered. I deferred a number of times, and to the point where I ended up deferring indefinitely. Took up a full-time job at a bookstore at the time, just managing a bookstore. Enjoyed that, but it wasn't, somewhere where I wanted to be my entire life. And again, I reached a stage where I would suffer from depression quite a lot. when I felt I was losing control, I would actually resort to binge eating, which I still do from time to time, and I have been currently now up around 90 kilos, so that's not a good thing either. And basically, because I think I felt I was losing control of my life and direction, I then decided to go back to study, started doing a Bachelor of Legal and Justice Studies with a major in conveyancing, in other words, property transactions. And it was at that time that I found an internship with a legal firm that specialised in that field. I actually did quite well in that, and I was quite happy. And after that point, and after 3 months of being an intern, I was offered a full-time role in that company, which I took up wholeheartedly. However, I think because, again, I had not dealt with the underlying issues, I basically became quite depressed, quite frazzled, quite stressed, not being able to manage stress, not being able to manage all of my workload in the most efficient way. And I think the fact that I was stressed translated across to colleagues, and it basically led to me resigning, basically, because I couldn't handle it anymore. And I've spent that time since at home basically feeling like a failure, because I've now reached 26. I still haven't completed my degree. I'm not in full-time work. I'm not actually working at all at the moment. And it is quite distressing and quite depressing. However, I am taking some positive steps, I feel, and I have my first appointment with a counsellor in a couple of weeks, so I am actually looking forward to that, and I'm hoping to get my life back on track. Another issue that I think led me to this point, led to me getting depressed and not being able to move further in my life, was me dealing with my sexuality, me coming to terms with the fact that I was gay. I think throughout high school, I think I knew and came to realise that I was attracted to boys, to the same sex, that I had urges and leanings in that way, but I never really acknowledged that. Or in other words, I tried to push it to the back of my mind because I knew it wasn't something that was the norm, that would be accepted amongst my family and peers at that time. And I tried to convince myself that that wasn't the case. And it was during that time that I wasn't at uni anymore when I actually came to terms with it. And I remember I actually had quite a confronting conversation with my mother once when I actually admitted to her, yes, I am gay, and I think that stunned her quite a little bit. And there was a bit of a rough time there with my family, with them trying to come to terms with it. They have come quite a long way, and I love them and thank them for their support. My father particularly has come quite a long way. I know now that he's more comfortable with it and with who I am, although it's still a little bit uncomfortable in the sense that he isn't happy to talk about it. We never talk about it, or what my life involves, or what aspirations I have. And I think in some ways, I always worried about letting my parents down, and that was the driver for me to do well and succeed. And I think in some ways now, as terrible as this is to say, but this sort of has let them down in a little bit of this has let them down in a certain kind of way. And they now don't expect as much of me, which feels better in the sense that, I feel more free to live my own life, to do what I want, and to pursue things that make me happy. Whereas I felt I couldn't do that as much before. Throughout all of this, I also met my amazing boyfriend of nearly 3 years, Ben, whom I love dearly, and makes me very happy, inspires me, supports me even though I go through my depressive phases. He just makes me so happy and inspires me so much to push myself to achieve what I desire, to go for more, and that makes me incredibly joyful and happy to have him in my life. Another person who supports me dearly, whom I must thank, is my best friend, Adelaide. Again, just there for me whenever I need to chat, to vent with. And I think we have that really good chemistry. We bounce off each other, and we just basically make each other happy just being around each other. Just spending time together, going out shopping, having a laugh. We just get on so well, and I appreciate her for that as well. And if you are watching this, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, that's basically my story, and I hope to be able to use YouTube basically to share my experiences, to connect with like-minded people, and to hopefully use this as a way of moving forward with my life and to document my journey. And I hope that if any of you have watched this video to this point and can relate or have any questions, please feel free to comment, leave me questions. I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. And I look forward to beginning with this YouTube journey with all of you. Thanks guys, bye.